Welcome back to another episode of Clark and Addison, Born into the Ivy. I'm your host, David, and we are here to talk about the Guardian series. Um, First off, to those who celebrate Easter Sunday, I hope you had a great day. This is the end of my Easter Sunday. Getting ready to talk about this, and then I've got to hit the bed. Hey, so it's time for bed and ready to get up for my job. So, um, crazy weekend with the rain out on Saturday and everything. You kind of expected most doubleheaders end up going a split, but the way that the split happened was just terrible. First, we're going to start with Friday night. Cade Horton was pitching, made it through 1+ innings, and felt something in his wrist, according to counsel. And then it went up to his forearm. Cade had told them. So, just devastating. Like that, cannot say enough how much that sucks. I know everybody else is on board with that, but I just want to reiterate this sucks. Hopefully it's not as related to anything like what happened last year. Not to put that out there. We won't find anything out yet. Cade was supposed to be traveling back to Chicago this afternoon, I believe it was, on Sunday afternoon / early evening. So hopefully we'll find something out. Taylor McGregor said in the first game that hopefully we'll find out by the end of the week. I mean, surely it won't be that long before we find anything out. But we'll talk a little more about like replacement of him and or who's going to pitch in the spot later. But it just sucks. The first game overall was just a dud. There was 5 hits in total and only 2 walks. Both of those were by Nico Hoerner. Hunter Harvey fell apart in the 7th inning, and I know that sucks because once again the bullpen went down. That's starting to happen a little more frequently, I feel like. So, I'm a big Hunter Harvey proponent. I thought it was a great signing. And that's the first time that he's had that issue. So hopefully it's just a hiccup. But it really sucked. However, it doesn't matter what the bullpen does or how great they are most of the time if we can't hit the ball. If the offense cannot get anything going, none of the other is going to matter. Colin Ray came in relief of Cade, did a pretty solid job, gave up the 1 run, went 3 1/3, and did a solid job. The rest of the bullpen did a good job outside of Hunter Harvey. So, Pete, Amaya, and Carson Kelly were the only quote-unquote bright spots. Pete's double was more of a misplay, but it's a double nonetheless. So, but Miguel Amaya has really been hitting well, and we'll talk a little bit more about him in here soon for the second game. But he's hitting well. Carson Kelly, they were the only bright spots. Pete's hit was a gift, but he made them truly punished for the mistake. He immediately stole third, and that brought the infield in, and Amaya got that double down the line. It scored Pete. So that was it. That was it for the offense, boys and girls. And that's just not good enough most of the time. I say that, and now we're going to go into the second game where we won 1-0. 1-0, boys and girls. It was a pitcher's duel, saw only 3 freaking hits. Are you kidding me? 3 hits? That's crazy. They said on the broadcast it was the first time that had happened since 1965 when Sandy Koufax threw the perfect game against the Cubs. So, pretty crazy. That's a long time ago, boys and girls. That's older than me, and that's old. So, the pitching staff did a great job in the second game, led by Edward Cabrera. Milner, Thielbar, they did fantastic. And Palencia, he looked excellent in that first save. That was great. Offense awful. Got just enough. So, the third game was a yo-yo game, back and forth. Seeing the Cubs with both a 3-0 lead and a 4-3 lead before giving up a second pair, or they gave up 2 pairs of 3-run innings in the 6th and 8th innings, both by the bullpen. Ben Brown, speaking of yo-yos, had a bad outing, then had a good outing, then he had another bad outing. He's got to get it together, man. Like I know I just was talking great about him, but for it to keep going back and forth like this, it's just we got to find some kind of consistency in stringing some stuff together, and that's on him. That's on Hotovy. That's on everybody. Tyler Zombro. Like we got to figure this guy out, or try somebody else and let him figure that out in the minors. I hate to say that, but just this back and forth, he's not even stringing back-to-back outings together. I mean, as dominant as he looked in that second outing, you just can't have this. You just can't. And then Jacob Webb in the eighth. Jacob's got a better track record, so I'm not going to just rip him apart and say that right now. But for as great as Ben looks at times, he's equally as frustrating at times. So the Bats finally got through, though, in this game because they had put together a total of 2 runs in the first 2 games, somehow managed to win one of them, scored 5 runs, and still lost the damn game. So I think we should all, as fans, be frustrated with the start. We're 4-5 right now. It's not going to cut it. It's not what we expected. It's not what this team should expect and is expecting. So the offense has got to get going, and then when it does, the pitching staff's got to do their part too. I in that first game of the series, like pitching staff gave up 4 runs. Is that you could argue if that's good enough to expect to win? I would argue that it should be with the offense that we should have. You could tell we're missing Seiya, and we really are struggling against left-handed starters. Both losses have come against left-handed starters. Ian Happ, Matt Shaw, and Dansby Swanson all hit a home run tonight in the second game, the cap of the doubleheader. And so that was fantastic. It just ultimately didn't matter. Riley Martin was called up. I don't believe got into any of the games. He was up in the first game, but he didn't pitch in that game. And then I don't believe he pitched in the second game. I'm double checking. I didn't get to watch all of the second game. I was out doing stuff with my in-laws for Easter Sunday. Understandable for all of us, anybody who did that. So, yeah, Ethan Roberts pitched. Not. That's what I thought. So Ethan Roberts had come up as a 27 man for the doubleheader. He'll be going back down. I would expect that Martin stays up, and but we'll see what all is happening with that. Speaking of all that, so Seiya had his first 3 rehab assignment starts. In the first game, he played in right field, went 1 for 2 with a single and a strikeout. In the second game was the DH, went 1 for 4 with a single and a strikeout. And in the third game today was in right field again, went 1 for 2 with a single and a walk. So solid. Like I don't think anybody would complain about that. He was 3 for 8, 2 Ks, 1 walk. Just want to make sure he can stay in right field. He didn't play in right field the whole game. Either of the 2 games he was in right field. So to me, that I would think would say that he's probably not done. I haven't heard, and I'm sorry if that was announced and I didn't get to check that before I came on to do this. I'll find out more. Obviously, we all will. But I would think that he has at least 1 or 2 more, if not joining the team in Pittsburgh. That's my expectation, or against Pittsburgh, back in Chicago. So the Cubs travel right now, are either traveling or have gotten to Tampa. I'm guessing probably still traveling. They start a 3-game set in Tampa against the Rays tomorrow at 4:10. Monday's probables, or the 3-game probables, are Jameson Taillon on Monday versus left-handed pitcher Shane McClanahan at 4:10. Another lefty. Brutal. Hopefully we can get to this guy. On Tuesday, it's left-handed pitcher Matthew Boyd versus right-hander Drew Rasmussen. That's a 6:40 start Eastern time. On Wednesday, not announced, and we'll talk about that here really fast, versus Joe Boyle at 6:40. I would guess, again, I have not seen much about this yet, but I would guess it's going to be Colin Ray, especially since Ben Brown pitched tonight. I was going to say Colin Ray, Ben Brown, Javier Assad, and or Jackson Wiggins, I think, are all possibilities. Ben Brown is out of that at this point, I think. They used him tonight. There's no way they're going to start him, I would think, on Wednesday. And I really didn't think it was going to be him. I thought I leaned towards Colin Ray and or Javier Assad. I think it's just a little too early to bring Jackson Wiggins up for this spot. If this was even a month down the road, I wouldn't be shocked to see it be Jackson Wiggins. I just think that they probably want him to get a little more time at AAA, get a few more starts under his belt before they really consider that and see how he responds with those starts. And they're going to want to kind of pare back how much he pitches. Like they're going to bring him along slowly, just like they did Cade. And understandable. So my guess is Colin Ray, but it wouldn't shock me to see Javier Assad be that guy either. If Javier Assad comes up, I would guess that Riley Martin goes back down. And then whenever Seau comes back, my guess is it's going to be Carlson or Kingery that goes off the main roster and gets designated. But I would want it to be Kingery or Conforto, to be truthful. But we'll see. Those are my thoughts with that. So we just talked about who should start for Cade. My ultimate guess is, or preference, would be Colin Ray. I think Colin has earned the first right at that, or first chance at that spot to do that, and has done a really good job overall. So, and then if he gets knocked around some, bring up Javier, because he also deserves it. My leaning would be Colin, but I wouldn't have a problem with either. So, Cubs and Rays both entered this series with a 4-5 record to start the season. The Rays have played their first 9 games on the road, so Monday's contest will be their home opener. They have averaged 5.13 runs per game, good for 6th in the league, and have a team ERA of 5, placing 26th in the majors. The Cubs entered the series with an 11th best ERA at 3.57, but the offense has only averaged 4.3 runs per game, ranking 13th in the league. Those numbers do not include Easter Sunday's games, though. So there's going to be a little bit of difference, some skewness in that. But overall, those are pretty, gives us a ballpark idea of how the teams have been performing and where to go with that. The Cubs need to take 2 out of 3 here. When I say need, are they going to be in dire straits if they come out of this series? Even if they were to get, God forbid, get swept here, are they on the outskirts and holy crap, like the sky is falling? No, but it would not be good either. To start 4-8 would be terrible, to be honest, and would be inexcusable. It's just not good enough. So 1 out of 2 still wouldn't be good. That would put them at 5-7. They really need to win 2 out of 3 and get some momentum going here with this, and put themselves in a better position. Headed back to Wrigley for a 3-game set. Here's the big deal, boys and girls. Let me read the schedule to you here coming up. After this Tampa Bay game against a team that's expected to be middling overall for the season, they got Pittsburgh for 3 at home. Then they go to Philly. Then they go back home to host the Mets and Phillies for 7 games. And then they travel to the LA Dodgers and the San Diego Padres. And they have 7, 10, 13 games in a row without a day off against the Mets, Phillies, Dodgers, and Padres. And that doesn't include that first Philly series when they're at Philadelphia. They have an off day in between that Philadelphia series and the Mets series. That's a hell of a gauntlet, kids. It's just, and it doesn't get a ton easier. After that, after the Padres series, they got Arizona and Cincinnati all at home, and then Texas. Those teams aren't expected to be as good as the ones we just talked about, but Cincinnati always gives the Cubs some trouble. Always. So, like, it's not getting any easier if we're going to break even at 6-6 through these first 12 games that a lot of people wanted us and expected the team to do a whole lot better and stack some wins. We haven't even begun to stack wins. We got to do better. The offense especially has got to do better. And the bullpen is starting to struggle, and we've got to see better out of that too. So, sorry to be such a Debbie Downer right now, but just we've lost 2 out of the first 3 series, and that's just, it really is just unacceptable. So, we gotta stack some time, some teams, some series wins, and put it together. I'm not saying they got to go on a 15-game winning streak or a 10-game winning streak, but they need to win 3 out of 4, 4 out of 5, 6 out of 8. You know what I mean? Like that. They got to start doing that and putting that together, because otherwise it's just going to start to get a little out of hand and seem a little bit insurmountable. So, that didn't talk a whole lot of specifics about any of the guys outside of Ben Brown, but the offense as a whole needs to do better. Pete's got to do better. Bregman, he may be hitting the ball hard at times, but that's starting to tail off, and he's not. The results aren't there. Like, we got to start to see some of that. Matt Shaw and Michael Conforto has to play right field better. Conforto basically lost a no-hitter for the team today because he just completely misplayed a ball, and then we're talking about it in that post game right in between the doubleheader, and how it really should have been a hit, but it's discretion. It shouldn't have been a hit. He totally misplayed it. I get why it was ruled a hit, but he totally misplayed the ball. It was just ridiculous. And the guy can't, like, I get he had one of the 2 hits for the day, but it was his first hit as a Cub, and he looked outmatched in the other at-bats, and he looked outmatched in the other 6 at-bats he had before going into that game. So why Ballesteros didn't play today instead of Conforto? It was beyond me. Like, I didn't like that call. I didn't like that at all. Ballesteros should have been playing. I get that he's young and he's struggling, but he's young. He's got to work through that and get more time. Conforto's had his chances at that. He's a minor league invitee for a reason. And Ballesteros is a young rookie who's got uber talent. But none of that can be we can't see that if he's not even given a chance to play, especially against right-handers. So, craziness to me that he wasn't in the lineup for either game, specifically the first game, but Craig didn't call me and ask me about it. So, all right. Thank you very much, everybody. I hope you all have a great day. I'll leave you with this from Paisley.
Go Cubs, go!
There we go. Everybody have a great day. Let's go Cubs.